Well, in the internet, and as fast as things move, 10 years is a long time out. So the honest answer is I don't know, but I can tell you what I would like to see in 10 years and what we're trying to work toward. So for education, I'll take it kind of one category at a time. I've got dreams around content, practices, policy, and culture. And so for content, I think our goal for 10 years should be that all subjects, all grades, all languages are available as CC licensed open educational resources. And not just one version, right? So I would I hope that we have 10 or 20 or 30 versions of calculus in all languages around the world. And then educators can pick and choose from what they want. And if we put a permissive license, like a CC BY license, on that content, then they can be easily revised and remixed. We're not there. We're not close to that yet. There are some big projects which are working on highest enrolled courses at university levels. There's some big projects working on K-12 curriculum or primary and secondary schools. But we have a long way to go, and we certainly have a long way to go with languages. But that's my dream for content, is that when Miguel's talking with one of his colleagues and they teach chemistry, he can say, yeah, we've got that. Here's chemistry for every grade level. Here it is in Spanish. Here it is it's also in Catalan, and we can modify it because it has a permissive CC license.
That's my dream too.
Good. We'll work on it together. Okay. For practices, and so oftentimes what we talk about in open education is open pedagogy or open education practices. My dream here is that all students, all teachers claim their right and have the power and the authority to create, revise, translate, share their work under the terms they choose, based on how they want to share and how they want to create. There's a colleague of mine named Catherine Cronin, is a leader in this space in Ireland, and she defines open practices as the ability to use and reuse and create OER and collaborative pedagogical practices employing social and participatory technologies for interaction, peer learning, knowledge creation, and sharing, and empowerment of learners. And so it's a very exciting space. The conversation really started around the idea that because OER are openly licensed, that now you have an opportunity as a teacher to give assignments to your students to actually improve the content. So when I went to university, I was given an all rights reserved piece of paper, my textbook and other resources, and I was told to learn them and then take a test. And then at the end of the course, my book was worthless. And so I would recycle it because selling it back to the bookstore, it wasn't worth any money. And I would throw away all my exams, and my professor would throw away all the exams. And I went on to my next class. With open practices, students can actually become contributors. They can improve knowledge over time, and that's exciting. With policy, we've talked about this a little bit. My dream is that all publicly funded and all foundation funded resources are required to be openly licensed by default. And then for culture, my dream in the academy, among all teachers and all faculty, is that we realize that education is about sharing. That's fundamentally what education is about. We're sharing knowledge. And so culturally, sharing is the default, and it's rewarded in things like promotion and tenure and other structures that teachers, faculty, and staff care about. And that may sound simple, but it's a big change. When I was doing my doctorate at Ohio State University, I had my doctoral committee was made up of what I would consider to be very liberal, progressive faculty. And yet the advice that they gave me was, cable, never share your research when you're writing papers. Somebody else will steal your ideas and you won't get the job. When you produce educational resources, keep those close. Those are yours. That's your course. That's what's going to help you get your next job. And to be fair, this was before Creative Commons even existed. And so these ideas of sharing easily and legally and ethically, I would argue, were not out there yet. And so they were giving the best advice that they could, but it was also really bad advice. And so I would hope that future generations of teachers and frankly, current, teachers and faculty, that we would start to shift and say, you know what, being a teacher, being a professor at a university, our job is to share knowledge, not just with our students, but with our colleagues who also teach what we teach. And we have an obligation to share with each other. And we have an obligation to help our students share when they want to. We shouldn't force them to share if they don't want to, but when they're ready to share, we should help them create materials at a very high quality level, teach them to keep their copyright and share under the terms that they choose with a CC license. So those are my dreams for content practices, policy, and culture. I hope we're there in 10 years.